Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining me once again for one of these Magic the Gathering openings. And we are coming in for our second semester here. So we finished up the first semester of our second year there. First year was just Strixhaven, School of Mages. Second year here is going to be Secrets of Strixhaven. We had our TA session in the middle where we asked them all of our questions there, got the commander decks out of the way. We are just going to be waiting on the secret layer to come up to be able to finish up, have our end of the year ceremony with that. But we'll have to wait until that comes around since don't exactly know when that's going to come in. So in the meantime, we are going to be opening up this box of Strixhaven to see if we can keep on getting some cool things, because there's still quite a bit that we did not get. I think we only got 2 of the lands. We ended up getting only 1 of the dragons. We got 3 of the emerituses. 3? Yeah, we did not get the red or the blue one. So we will be on the lookout for those, particularly the blue one, as well as any other really, really cool mystical archive ones, because we got the Jessica's Will, we got the Ad Nauseam in the Japanese artwork there. Triumph of the Hordes, we got some really cool stuff there. So I'm hoping to be able to continue it on with this. So come and join me in on this. Class is in session. Rub the pack for luck, and hopefully we can get something extra cool within these. That first pack that we got in the last box there, that was the one where we got like so much. So I don't think we're going to do it in this one, but let's hope that we can get something. Heated Argument, for a red instant, deals 6 damage to target creature. You may exile a card from your graveyard. If you do, it does 2 damage to that creature's controller. Very expensive to deal all that damage. It looks like we have a Johnny and Chandra facing off here. I don't want to hurt you, Johnny, but whatever Jace is planning needs to be stopped. So maybe a Johnny is in on whatever it is that Jace is doing, since we know that he's going to be a centralized figure within Reality Fracture. So, we've had so much Chandra versus Jace that it's almost predictable by this point. Oh, good old classic Essence Scatter. 1 in a blue, counter target creature spell. That's a classic there. I really like this artwork, though, of them just kind of making these sections of this creature, just chopping them up there, splitting them apart. It looks incredibly creepy because of that, and honestly just cool looking. Bogwater Lumineret, we saw this one before. It or another creature enters, you gain a life. Wild Hypothesis, I think we saw this one as well, creating up a little fractal creature there in X-Spell, potentially working with Primo. Campus Composer, 3 and a blue 3/4 Merfolk Bard, War 2, enters prepared, and you get Aqueous Aria, 4 and a blue sorcery, just creates a 3/3 blue and red elemental creature token with flying. Nothing super special on that one there. Forum Necroscribe. A Necroscribe, man, that sounds kind of treacherous. 5 and a black, 5/4 Troll Warlock, Ward, discard a card. I really like that. Your opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand, they can't target this. And if the only card they have in their hand is a removal spell, they can't use it to discard it. That's pretty good there, especially with any deck that deals with making them want to discard cards as, you getting a benefit for it. Repartee, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets a creature, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, that's actually pretty nifty. Surprisingly, I don't think that this could do anything in Modern or Standard or any of those formats, but with, Commander there, having this out, your opponents want to get rid of it, they have to additionally discard a card to be able to target it, or even to use an ability that targets it. But whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets one creature, that's it. Doomblade, removal, any sort of stuff like that, you just put creature card from your graveyard on the battlefield. So this is so good of like milling yourself, getting a whole lot of stuff out there. Then you get this out and you do some targeted removal or even some pump spells on some of your stuff, and you just reanimate for free. Reanimate for free. It's just, it puts the line of text on every single targeted instant and sorcery that you have as, reanimate for 0 mana and 0 life. This one is something to look out for. That's a nifty card. Daydream, 1 white, sorcery, exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it, and flashback 2 and a white. Okay, I really dig this. More white blink spells there, because it is going to be a blink. It's not at the end of the turn there, and you can cast it again from your graveyard. Now, unfortunately, it is a sorcery, so it's not something that you can do in response. You have to have something like Vidalcan Orrery or just something that gives stuff sorcery. So it's not the most amazing or busted one of these, but for the opportunity of getting some ET bid triggers and whatnot there, this is great. Plus the +1/+1 counters, white and black, you got Forum Necroscribe, you exile one of your cards, get the ETB trigger, then because you targeted something, you also revive something, and then you can do it again with a flashback. Yeah, that's nice. Burst Lightning, we did get this one last time there. Nothing too spectacular, though. I think that the Burst Lightning we got in the previous one was foil, but, we'll take this nonetheless. Oh, and we are starting off with something good. We're starting off with a little bit of the Silver Script. And it's only in the uncommon, but hey, we will take as many of these as we can possibly get, and we're getting it starting right off the bat now. Because we did get this one last time, I do know exactly which one this is. This is going to be Bulk Up. And because Bulk Up came out in Foundations, and I didn't open up a whole lot of that yet because it's been hard for me to get booster boxes. I got my 2 collectors, but that's about it. I didn't really recognize it, but yeah, getting a special version of Bulk Up is really, really nice. 1 in a red for an instant that has target creature, I believe, double its power. I believe, but I don't think that it does anything with its toughness, but it also has a flashback cost of 4 and 2 red. Okay, this is a good way to start off the pack there, because a lot of these Japanese ones from the archive there in the uncommon slot, a lot of them aren't even worth $1, but when I did my original one and I was doing up the value of them, the regular Bulk Up for the Japanese one was at over $1, so the Silver Script one has to be pretty good, because, I mean, it is a good card, doubling up attack for 1 in a red, being able to swing in there, and we are going to get an island there. Very nice. We like our Prismari. Okay, first rare of the pack. We've already gotten some one good hit. Splatter Technique. Okay, so unfortunately we did get this one in the previous one. 1 double blue, double red. Sorcery, you choose one. You either draw 4 or you deal 4 damage to each creature, planeswalker. So, a little bit of removal or a little bit of draw, depending on whichever one you want. It's a little bit of a bigger spell there, pretty restrictive with the colorings. So it's meh at best, I think. I mean, if you can copy it, which, a lot of the my copy deck I could, but with that deck I'm kind of wanting to copy multiple things in a single turn there. Probably end up skipping this. Maybe I'll put it in there. I don't know. Next one is going to be from our commander decks, which we did see. Forum Filibuster. 3 and double white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Whenever you do, return up to 1 target aura or equipment from your graveyard to the battlefield attached to that token. Okay, I can't remember, but I think that this is one of the better ones to get, because it's just a recursion effect for auras and equipments. There are just going on 2/1s, but you can have some pretty darn good stuff, and especially with equipments there. If you are able to be bringing back equipments and just auto-equipping things, even if it's to those tokens, free token generation, and you can move the equipment around whenever you want, so it gets around the, not Galvanic Blast, gosh, what is that red one there that, you can overload to destroy all artifacts. It's just it's passing through my mind right now. I can't remember, but being able to get just more and more and more. I was really close. I had to end up looking it up. It was Vandal Blast. So close with Galvanic Blast. But yes, Vandal Blast, it helps keep it safe from that or anything else that just removes all of your equipment or just an equipment that goes. So we will certainly take that. And we're also going to get Wisdom of Ages. Okay, another new one. 4 triple blue. It looks like we have one of those Archaics, maybe with Jadzi. Return all instant and sorceries from your graveyard to your hand. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game, and then exile it. Okay, so just mass recursion of all of your instant and sorceries. This is expensive, but that could potentially be good to get them back. Just, getting everything back, cantrips and whatnot there. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. It's all right. And let's see here. So the next one is going to be our Mythical Archive card. Something good? Okay, so it is going to be something here. Maybe, I'm trying to remember what this is. It's like Pyretic Ritual or something like that. I believe this is 1 in a red instant. You add 3 red mana to your mana pool. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. So I will absolutely take this. Any sort of ritual effect that gives us more mana is good. We can put this in decks, that are red and blue, or red and blue is generally the way that they do it, with reducing the cost of instant and sorcery. So it's 1 red to add 3 red. So it's basically Dark Ritual in red. But I'm pretty sure that's what this is. As with last time, over here somewhere, I'm going to have the actual one to compare it with, but that's going to be my guess of what it is. So good to get a new one. I will absolutely take that. Thank you very much. And we're going to have our treasure and our elemental, not squid, but definitely looking like a squid. Final card is going to be a Pensive Professor. Okay, so we did get a duplicate here. Same with the splatter technique. So a couple of repeats, but we did get a good one from the Commander deck. We did get a new Japanese Mythical Archive card, and just a new card from that archive in general, and a Silver Scroll one. That's nice. Pensive Professor, 1 double blue, 0/2, Human Wizard increment, which was, if I remember correctly, if you cast a spell and the mana cost, the CMC, the converted mana cost, is greater than the power or the toughness of a creature with increment, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and whenever 1 or more +1/+1s are put on this creature, you draw a card. So you play something big and potentially have an additional draw effect on it. So not as many mythics, because there are none, as we did in our first of the last one there, but still getting some decent cards to start off with. So not quite as strong start, but we will still take it. Going on to pack number 2. Hopefully we can continue to get some new and cool things, because at the end of the day, that's what I really, really want. Another Wild Hypothesis like we got last time. Rancorous Archaic. So I guess we've got some color, not colorless. They're all colored, but can be paid with colorless. Common, 5 for a 2/2 avatar with Trample and Reach. Enters with a +1/+1 on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. So just a very, very generic one there. Just gets bigger based off of the mana that you spend on it. Ulna Alley Shopkeep, 2 and a black, 2/3, Goblin Warlock, Menace. Infusion gets +2/+0 as long as you gain life this turn. So a little bit bigger guy. Potentially you gain life. You have a 4/3 Menace for 3. It's okay. We get our Surveil land from Lorehold there, another copy of it. We did see all of these in the respective versions of the Commander decks. Blazing Fire Singer. So, kind of similar to our not Seething Song, our Pyretic Ritual. We get the Seething Song on this. 2 and a red for a dwarf bard, enters prepared, and you can cast Seething Song as an instant for 5 red mana. So, another one of those ritual effects. It's very good if we can reduce the cost on it there to, make it 2 or 1, paying 1 red mana to get 5 red mana. This is decent. Something to look at because it does enter prepared. So you play white and red, or blue and red, or white, blue, red Jeskai, playing some of the ones that, bounce it, not bounce it, flicker it, like we saw with that study one where it flickers it, comes back with a +1/+1, but because of that, it enters prepared, so, you've got more abilities to play the Seething Song, get more mana out of it there. That's nice. Flow State, okay, so this is one that we definitely want to see. This is the premier uncommon card to look for, so this is our first one here. 1 in a blue, sorcery, look at top 3 cards of your library. 1 goes into your hand, the rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order. If there is an instant or sorcery in your graveyard, instead put 2 into your hand, the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. Okay, so that's very good. Stock Up was our kind of premier digging one. You dig through 5 and you keep 2. This one here, it's 1 less. I think Stock Up is an instant, though. This is sorcery, so a little bit more limited, but it costs 1 less. You see 2 less cards, but theoretically in a big spellcaster, spell slinger type of deck, you're going to have an instant or sorcery in your graveyard, so you get to keep 2 out of the 3 cards you see. So you're up 1 card for 2 mana there, and you've seen 2, and you've gone through 3. Pretty darn good there. Absolutely grateful. I am grateful to get a copy of this since I know that it's so good. Spirit Color Enthusiast. I think we had gotten this before. 2 and a white, 3/3, Cat Cleric. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control ETB, this becomes prepared. You can get Scroll Boost. 1 and white, 1 or 2 target creatures each get +2/+2 until end of turn. Yep, I think we got that one there. And Mythical Archive? Yes, it is Mythical Archive. Okay, so this is Hop to It, if I recall correctly. So we are getting another Japanese Mythical Archive card. Again, it's uncommon. We will still take it because it's one that we don't have. 2 and a white. I believe that we create, I think it's you create 3 white 1/1 rabbit creature tokens. I believe that's what it does. Let's see here. This is a sorcery, so play on your turn there. If I got it correct, you can compare it here, but I'm glad to get it. Big thing on it here is this is New Year's time. Rabbits, I know are associated with the moon and with mochi and whatnot, and there's the whole thing of, having some mochi and putting like an orange on top of it or something like that. So I guess it makes sense for them to do that. And okay, so we are gonna get a we are gonna get the other form of bulk up here. Wow, I wasn't really expecting that. Okay, like getting both versions of it this time in the foiling. So you probably saw it when I had this one up there and in the previous one as well. But yeah, getting another version of bulk up is really, really nice. I will absolutely take that. It's very pretty. Bulking up, I guess, into a bear makes sense for them instead of, a goblin with 2 huge biceps. But yeah, thank you very much. We got foil versions of both of our bulk ups. Certainly take that. Little plains action. We're still looking for more swamps as well. First rare, Tragedy Feaster. Okay, we didn't get this one last time. 2 double black for a 7/6 demon with trample. Nice. Ward, discard a card. So very similarly to the other one there, discarding a card. So far, so good. Infusion. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice a permanent unless you gained life this turn. Okay, so that's its downside, is you get a 7/6 for 4 mana that you have to gain life each turn or else this goes away. Pretty good stat line. The ward also makes it decent. Depends. You could have a deck where you want to sacrifice things, and at that point there, it's like, yeah, I'll sacrifice something each turn and, you know, have a big 7/6 trampler on the field for cheap. That doesn't sound too bad, but, pretty vanilla in what it is in general. So you can either put it in a life gain deck so you can keep it out, or you can put in a deck where you have a lot of small creatures, so you got something to get rid of, or in a deck where you want to sacrifice something and you're just like, yep, I'm going to get rid of it. Our card from the commander deck. Okay, another Fury Gale Flocking there. Super expensive, 8 double red sorcery, but reduces its cost by 1 for each instant or sorcery in your graveyard. And then for each opponent, you put 2 3/3 red and blue elemental creature tokens with flying on the that attack that opponent this turn if able, and they gain haste. So you can play it beforehand, swing in for a couple of people, or on your second main, play them, and then they don't have to attack. You get to choose. Our next rare is going to be Resonating Loot. Okay, a little bit more Prismari. We like that. 2, a blue and a red artifact. Lands you control have tap, add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast instant and sorcery spells. That's so good. That's so good. It mana fixes into all of your instants and sorceries and doubles the mana on them. Absolutely. And then it just gets the bonus effect of tap, draw a card, activate if you have 7 or more cards in your hand. Okay, yeah, I just have a ton of cards in my hand. I'll just draw an extra card there. I'm constantly doing that. This is certainly having homes in a lot of my decks there. So I am looking to get a few more of these. That is absolutely amazing. Okay, next up we've got our Mythical Archive card, which is going to be... Okay, that's really good. This is going to be a Chroma's Will. And I don't remember everything that it does, but a Chroma's Will, I believe it's 3 and a white for an instant, which I believe is you choose to do one of the following, or if you've got your commander out, you can do both. I think one of them is a protection spell, and then the other is a pump spell. This is another really, really good one to get. Now, it would have been great to have it be in the Silver Scroll like the Ad Nauseam was, but even non-foil, I will absolutely take an additional Chroma's Will. That is sick, and the artwork is really, really great. Having that classical Japanese, like, female warrior monk, and just putting some wings on her, giving a little bit of the Amaterasu like halo around her there. A lot of the people in the background just looking on and praying. It's a beautiful card. That's a good one to get. But yeah, you can see what the actual Chroma's Will does here because I'll have had it up. But yeah, it's really, really good one to get. Okay, so we've been hitting on some of our Mythical Archive cards. We need to, and that's one mythic, so let's hopefully we can get another one here. We are going to get some sort of bus or something. Strixhaven Sky Coach. Yep, just flying around, getting to classes and whatnot. Final rare of the pack is going to be an Ark of Hunger. So like Ark of the Covenant, but with, I can't remember, Hazoret. I think it was the Jackal one from Amonkhet, but this is red-white instead of just red. But yeah, big Jackal box. 2 a red and a white artifact. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain 1 life. This is so good. Yeah, putting this one in the Lorehold Commander deck there. Tap, mill a card. You may play that card this turn. So yeah, it's not an impulse draw. It puts it into your graveyard, and a lot of the stuff deals with graveyard. It's like a different type of impulse draw. That's a really good one there. Essentially getting extra card in your hand, milling at the same time. That's a good one there. It's probably not going to be the most expensive thing. It's probably not going to be the most amazing thing, but just a general piece on there of like, yeah, it's an artifact that does that extra 1 damage, and then you can use it to actually, fuel itself. Biblioplex Tomekeeper enters, you prepare or unprepare a creature. Procrastinate there. big X spell. Tap target creature, you put twice X stun counters on it. That's me sometimes just procrastinating a little bit. Rearing Embermare, 4 and a red, 4/5, Horse Beast, reach and haste. Very, very just vanilla creature there, but even the vanilla creatures have, something going for them there, as opposed to olden days. Burrog, Banemaker, 1 black for a 1/1 Frog Warlock, Death Touch, 1 and a black, gets +1/+1 until end of turn there. Nice little death touchy guy, and just is painting himself or is, extracting some of the venom from themselves. Summoned Dromedary. Okay, a little bit of Spirit Camels. 3 and a white, 4/3. Vigilance, 1 and a white. Return this from your graveyard to your hand. Activate only as a sorcery for 1 and a white. And then you could use this as discard fodder so that, you could get something like these cards that when something leaves your graveyard, you deal the damage or get some sort of benefit. Yeah, use this as like, oh, I discard this. I'm going to get it back in my hand for 2 mana. Yeah, it's not going to be the most amazing thing, but it is like a little bit of a support thing there. It's also good in your limited format where it's like, okay, I can survive another turn. It's got vigilance, so it can attack in and block and return itself. Homesickness, getting a little bit of a package back from home. That's nice. 4 double blue instant, target player draws 2, tap up to 2 target creatures, and you put a stun counter on them. So, getting a little bit of extra benefit there, putting a little extra mana in to get those extra effects. Because again, Divination is 3 mana to get the 2 cards. So is tapping those creatures and getting stun counters on them worth the extra 3? That's what you have to think of. Okay, so here we are getting one of our first years, not in the Lorwyn setting, but in our Strixhaven setting. Abigail, Poet Laureate. She's already a Poet Laureate. That's pretty surprising. 1, a white, and a black for a 2/3 legendary bird bard with flying. Whenever you cast a creature spell, Abigail becomes prepared, and she has Heroic Stanza 1 and a hybrid white-black for your sorcery. You put a +1/+1 on target creature. So if you've got targeted things, if counters are in sort of your wheelhouse, that'll be good. You gotta play creatures so you can get more +1/+1s. That's the playstyle you're going with Abigail. And okay, a little bit of Spell Pierce. We'll certainly take Spell Pierce in our uncommon slot here. That's very nice. Spell Pierce is always a good one. 2 mana, instant, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. So you can, if they tap out for something, you can be like, ooh, can you pay the 2? So nifty little one to get there. And we're also going to get a Feed the Swarm. Okay, I like my Feed the Swarms, and this one is super creepy. You've got some sort of like giant insect, almost like an insect deity. We see a little bit of an insect symbol here, kind of not a scarab, but more like an antlion almost, and 2 of the same ones over there with Big Moon, and it looks like it's taking over this village, just eating absolutely everybody in its path there. Very creepy, very nice to get another version of it. I'll certainly take that. 1 in a black, sorcery, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls. You lose life equal to its mana value. So, big hit back potentially on the crackback there with that, but, getting rid of an influential creature, and, it's a sorcery, so it's not Doomblade instant, but, Doomblade can't hit black creatures. And this can also hit enchantments. Enchantment removal is a little bit more difficult to come by. So, coming along with a nice Feed the Swarm is always good. I will certainly take more of those. Thank you very much. And finally get another swamp to go with that Feed the Swarm. So thank you for that. First rare. Another Moseo, Vane's New Dean. So another repeat here, unfortunately. Bird Skeleton Wizard, 2/1. You create a pest when it ETBs, and beginning of your end step, if you gain life, you can return a creature with mana value X based off of the amount of life that you gained this turn there. So it can be impactful. I can use more of them there, so it's not the worst thing for me to get, but I would like to be getting either new or cool things there. So commander card is going to be Turbulent Fen. Okay, so we did get this one in our last box, but we can always use more good lands, especially, when we're going through creating different decks. So thank you. I'll certainly take that. Antiquities on the Loose. 1 double white sorcery, create 2/2/2 red and white spirit creature tokens. Then if this spell was cast from anywhere other than the hand, then you put a +1/+1 on each spirit you control, not each of those spirits, but each spirit. So you put this in something like the Lorehold deck, which is making a whole lot of spirit tokens that are like 3/2s or 2/3s, something like that. Then pumping them all up by 1 could be really good there, making some more. Doesn't give the ones that you put in haste. That's the only thing that I see on that, but for 3 mana, that makes sense. I'll certainly take it. And let's see here. Yep, so our card from the Mythical Archive is Prismatic Ending. Okay, nice foil one there. Now, unfortunately, is not going to be one of our Silver Scrolls, but it's a very, very beautiful one in and of itself there. Very, very bright and colorful there. The yellow is super striking. Looks like one of our Archaics. X and a white sorcery, converge, exile target non-land permanent if its mana value is less than or equal to the number of colors of mana spent to cast the spell. So, maximum of 5 mana spell is what can be exiled with this. Or X spells. X spells generally don't cost quite as much. Some claim the Archaics can die only after Arcavios' demise. Others claim their deaths herald the plane's doom. The truth, only time will tell. From Jadzi. But yeah, this is a very, very pretty card there. I will absolutely take that. Thank you very much. Okay. And gonna be putting these away. A little bit of Pegasus, a little bit of Contracts there from Skariv. Final rare of the pack is gonna be a Vastlands Scavenger. Okay, so still running kind of low on mythics. We still only have the 1, so, we are looking for stuff, but we are still getting some new things. 1 double red, 4/4 for a Bear Druid, Death Touch, enters prepared, bind to life, 4 and a green, instant, mill 7, then put a creature from among them onto the battlefield. So only among the ones that you mill. So if you've got a way to manipulate the top of your deck and you've put something up on the top there, if you're playing green and black, potentially, you have this one out prepared, you play something, I think it's like Vampiric Tutor or whatnot, Demonic Tutor, one of them that puts it on the top of your deck there, and then you play the Bind to Life so that you can mill them and then be able to just put it on the battlefield. That would be really, really nice. But yeah, a decent little card there, milling a whole bunch. Helping fill up your graveyard. It is a little bit of a more expensive instant, so that's the only thing to be mindful of. Okay, can we continue to get cool and interesting things in at pack number 4? Please, please, please. Let's have something cool. Starting off with Masterful Flourish. 1 black, instant, target creature you control gets +1/+0 and indestructible until end of turn. Okay, a nice little protection, like singular protection. That's nice. This would be really good with that creature that brings stuff back from the graveyard. You're just like, oh yeah, you tried to get rid of it and you did the ward, you discarded your card. I'm going to just pay 1 mana to make it indestructible and I get to bring my card back. I like that. And because it's targeting it and it doesn't matter that it goes through, just that it targets, that you play a spell that targets one of your things, then you just get it back anyway. Even if they somehow try to get around this, that's nice. Pursue the Past, we saw this one before. It's just you gain 2 life, and only if you discard a card do you get to draw 2. The flashback is nifty for the Lorehold with the whole removing from your cards from your graveyard. Dig that one there to draw a couple of extra cards. So, it's an interesting one for that, but other than that, probably not the most impactful. Textbook Tabulator, 03 with Increment, enters with Surveil 2, okay. Sneering Shade Rider, ETBs, each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. We saw these in the last one. Silver Quill Charm, we saw each of the charms in the decks themselves, so, put 2 +1/+1s on 1 creature, exile target creature with power 2 or less. Each opponent loses 3 and you gain 3. So, depending on what you need to burn them out a little bit or gain a little bit of extra life? Do you want to pump up one of your creatures, or do you need to get rid of a small creature to get through? That's choices you can make. Root Manipulation, 3, a black and a green sorcery. Until end of turn, creatures you control get +2/+2, have menace, and whenever it attacks, you gain a life. Okay, just a little bit of a pump, a little bit of, it's not a combat trick, it's just like a little bit of a pump, give a little bit of extra abilities there. Decent. It's okay. It's meh. Poisoner's Apprentice, 2 and a black, 2/2, Orc Warlock Infusion. When this ETBs, target creature an opponent controls gets -4/-4 if you gain the life this turn. It's a little bit of a removal there, but the only problem with it is that you have to gain life prior to putting it out, so you got to work around that. And okay, this one, I remember that I had thought last time, or no, I thought it was Valorous Stance, and it was something else. This is Disdainful Stroke. Okay, so we are getting a lot of the, uncommon Japanese ones. I'll certainly take that. Disdainful Stroke, 1 and a blue instant. I think that this counters something with mana 4 or greater, but it could just be a creature. Instant. It'll be right here for us to confirm or deny that, but another good pickup within our Mythical Archive slot, and a Giant Growth. Okay, so we did see this one previously as well. I used it as an example for the other Giant Growth that we had. Little Squirrel becoming Big Squirrel there, getting +3/+3. We'll absolutely take more Giant Growths. They're very, very fun when they got some good artwork there. So we'll put that one there. Get a little bit of a forest in the Quandrix style, and our first rare is going to be another Antiquities on the Loose. Okay, I don't really need that many of them there, so, I guess we've got another one there, this time not extended art. From the Commander decks, we've got Arutha. Okay, so we did get another Mythic, probably, we want one from the actual packs and not from the decks. We'll take the one from the decks. This one is going to be, not the foil one, it's going to be just an extended art version. Rutha, Mastering the Moment, 2, a blue and a red, 3/4, legendary Orc Sorcerer, beginning of combat. If you cast an instant or sorcery, you create an XX blue and red elemental creature token with flying and haste, where X is the greatest mana value among instant and sorceries you've cast this turn. So you're going to want to be playing in your first main phase a big instant or sorcery so you can get your big fish to be able to be swinging in there. Find ways of reducing costs so that you can get bigger ones out there easier. That's how the play style is going to be. We'll take it there, but we are looking for, other Mythics. Okay, so we've got one of our special alternate art cards. I think that the Mythical Archive is technically our showcase cards, and these are just our alternate artworks there with all of the drawings in the background that you would find in the journals. Geometers, Arthropod, blue and a green for a 1/4 Fractal Crab. I like some Fractal Crabs, and it's in the shape of a horseshoe crab. I've got some issue with horseshoe crabs, so that's nice. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana value, look at the top X cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That is so good in these X decks. That's just an auto-include in them. Oh my goodness, yeah, that's going to be a good one. I will absolutely take that there. And our Mythical Archive card, Culling the Weak. Okay, so get some extra ones there. More new artwork, we'll absolutely take it. 1 black for an instant as an additional cost to cast it. You got to sack a creature, put in your Aristocrat stack. You want to do that, and you gain 4 mana. So you gain you gain 1 extra one as if you were, as opposed to Dark Ritual, but you got to sack a creature. Sometimes that can be really good. So we'll certainly take Culling the Weak. Thank you very much. And we got a little bit of Cat and Inkling from the Commander decks. Final rare is going to be Steal the Show. Okay, so we did get this one last time, if I remember correctly. 2 and a red, sorcery, choose one or both. Target player discards any number of cards, then draws that many. And Steal the Show deals damage equal to the number of instant and sorceries in your graveyard to target creature or player. So, you know, it's a way for you to pay 3. You can essentially almost wheel yourself, but, you know, you only draw as much as you discard, and then you can hit one thing for something big. So, the Rutha was decent, and our Culling the Weak was fine. Our uncommon ones with Disdainful Stroke was nice, and the Geometer's Arthropod was nice, but not that great of a pack there. We're going to rub. Hopefully we're going to get a little bit more luck. Pack number 5, almost halfway through. You know, the first one might just completely blow this out of the water there. Our first boxes generally have, for a lot of things, generally do better. Expressive Fire Dancer, okay, that's really nice. 1 and a red, 2/2, Cumin Sorcerer, Opus. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast it, it gets double strike. Okay, I was thinking of a different thing. Not sure what it was, but it definitely wasn't this. My bad. Last Gasp, a little bit of -3/-3 until end turn. If you notice any cuts in the video, it's generally because I'm coughing a little bit. Generally, that happens because you're talking for so long and your throat just gets a little bit dry. And sometimes this feels like me just trying to reach out for my last gasp because, you know, I got a cough. Ascendant Dust Speaker, we saw this one before. Beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. So a little bit of graveyard hate there. That's always nice. Mindful Biomancer, 1 in a green, 2/2, Dry Druid, ETBs, gain a life, 2 in blue, 2 in a green, gets +2/+2 until end turn, activate only once each turn there, meh. Artistic Process, oh, we've got a nice little muddle there from the decks and the artwork. 3 double red, sorcery, choose 1, deals 6 to 1 creature, deals 2 damage to each creature you don't control, so a little bit of small board mass removal, or create a 3/3 blue and red elemental creature token with flying. It gains haste until end of turn. Okay, you know, depending on what you need there. The 2 to everything is decent. It's just a little bit too expensive. If you can reduce the cost, that's fine. Sonar, Unfinished Genius, one of our other first-year students. So another nifty one to be able to get. Blue and a red for an 0/4 legendary goblin sorcerer with that enters prepared, and you can tap to create a treasure token. Activate only if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. So cast 1 instant or sorcery to be able to always get an extra treasure. That's nice. Wild Idea, 3, a blue and a red. Sorcery, search your library for an instant or sorcery, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Okay, so, you know, just being able to get search for the instant or sorcery that you need. It's a little bit expensive for it there. Hopefully you've got some cost reduction. Snarl Song. Looks like we've got one of the Archaics again, like contending with some fractals. 5 and a green, sorcery, converge, create 2/0/0 green and blue fractal creature tokens, put X +1/+1s on them, and gain X life, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast the spell. Kind of meh. Mythical Archive cards. Starting off with Helping Hand, don't have this one, so that's nice. 1 white for sorcery, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Recursion for 1 white to get essentially a Sun Titan effect. You know, it's only creature, it's not permanent there, but even if it comes in tapped, you know, that's ETB triggers. When it leaves, it's a leave trigger. If it's got battle triggers, it's battle triggers. Mana value 3 or less, you can get some really good creatures that are 3 or less. We'll absolutely take that one. And 1 blue. Let's see here. Okay, so I made a cut here because I was trying to read it, and I think that this might be deduce. If I'm correct, you know, obviously I've put something up here, but I'm saying 1 blue for a sorcery. I don't know if deduce is a sorcery or an instant. I don't know the card very well, but I know that it's in this slot. I know that it's 1 blue, and it's This is your library. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, and then put one into your hand, and one on the bottom of your library. That's what I believe that I can read what it's saying there, and if that's the case, I think that's the deuce. You'll see it here, but this is more beautiful artwork. I'm glad to be able to get that one there. Thank you very much. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Prismari Islands. We'll certainly take more islands. It's good. First rare is going to be Magma Blood Archaic. So we did get this one last time as well. Triple 2 red hybrid for a 2/2 Avatar Trample Reach. Converge, enters with a +1/+1 on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, all creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn, where for each color of mana spent to cast that spell. So playing a few different spells, you can pump up your creatures a little bit there. It's in terms of like a pump spell there. It's just is what it is. From the commander decks, we've got Lorehold Archivist. 1, a red and a white, 3/2, Dwarf Artificer with first strike. Beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more artifacts in your graveyard, this becomes prepared and restored relic. 2, a red and a white, sorcery, exile target artifact from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it. Honestly, a pretty decent one there. Absolutely will take it. Any of these red-white artifacts or equipment decks, certainly will take that one there. Thank you. I can use that one. There are plenty of red-white Voltron type of decks there where this would be really good for it. So I'll certainly take that. And flashback, okay, so that's just going to be your classic 1 red instant, target instant or sorcery in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. Its flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. I think in most cases the flashback cost is more expensive than the actual card, so giving something good like a Chroma's Will or something like that, or just even if you've got like a blue counterspell or something, like if you've used like a Force of Will and a Force of Negation and your Fierce Guardianship, you've used up all of your like free counterspells, and they're not expecting something, or even Deflecting Swat, if you're just in red and they're just like, okay, you've already used that up, I don't have to worry, and you've got like 1 red mana open or something, are they really going to be expecting flashback for you to then be able to cast your free spell from the graveyard? Like, I think that flashback has gotten better because of that one, because of that there. So, nifty little one there. Absolutely will take flashback, and our archive card is going to be okay. I think that this is Shieldred's Edict, because this looks like Shieldred. It's an instant, it's 1 and a black, which I believe I remember Shieldred's Edict being. That would be really good, because I think it's the edict is each opponent sacrifices 1 token, or each opponent sacrifices 1 non-token creature. And I can't remember this last one here, maybe discarding a card from the hand or something like that. I can't remember. Or is it removing all counters on 1 creature? Discarding all counters on 1 permanent. I can't remember the exacts, but Shieldred's Edict is a good one there. I will absolutely take that. Thank you very much. That's going to be going in our special pile there. And we've got Ral showing up as, a black mage in Silver Quill, kind of similarly how Liliana showed up. And now we've got Dellian Fel as some professors there, but this is some of the evidence as why they think that Jace is creating the other school that has alternate versions of all of the planeswalkers there. Okay, so we've gone through all of those. Final rare of the pack. It'd be great to even get him, even though he's not that great. another Geometer's Arthropod in the, special artwork there. It's good. I don't have that many X decks that I'm going to be doing, so I hope that I don't get too many more of those, because we are now going on to our last pack of the first half, and don't get me wrong, Chroma's Will is an amazing one to get, but for our only two to be one Mythical Archive and one from the Commander decks, we're definitely falling behind on the first box pretty hard, so I'm hoping we can get some more. Chase Inspiration, 1 blue instant, target creature you control gets +0/+3 and hexproof until end of turn. A little bit of protection there. Oracle's Restoration, we saw this one. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. You draw a card, you gain a life there. Pretty simple. Cheerful Osteomancer. Remember talking about the Osteomancers in Bloomborough. The Raised Dead is really, really nice. Just returning creature from your graveyard to your hand. Titan's Grave, the Surveil land from Witherbloom, we saw in the Commander decks. Mind Roots, now that's a very interesting one. I like that artwork on it. 1 a black and a green. Sorcery, target player discards 2. Put up to 1 land card discarded this way onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Okay. So you can discard your own stuff, get something that you want in the graveyard into the graveyard, and then also just be able to put an extra land on the battlefield, or you can make one of your opponents discard 2 cards, and hopefully they discard a land because maybe they don't want to, give up their good spells or something. Growth Curve, blue and a green. My mind instantly thinks of Growth Spiral, and I really like that card, but this is not going to be it. Put a +1/+1 on target creature you control, then double number of +1/+1s on it. Okay, doubling +1/+1s, that's actually pretty nifty. I'm going to be thinking about that one there because I've got some places for you. Chelonian Tackle. Okay, some sort of technique in their Quidditch match. 2 and a green sorcery, target creature you control gets +0/+10 until end of turn, then it fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. This is going to go so hard in the Toughness Matters deck, because given their Toughness an extra 10, and then they deal an extra 10, and then they fight to do a little bit of removal, they're not dealing 10, so they're still smacking in with a big, big creature there. Not the best, but just an interesting one that I will definitely use. Stock Up. Oh, getting a Stock Up. That's nice. I don't know how much longer it's in Standard, but I will certainly take more Stock Up. 2 and a blue. Sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. 2 of them go into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. As we talked about before, why the other one that we had earlier, whatever it was called, Flow State, I think it was. I tried to look for it, and I didn't open to the right one, but it's Flow State. Again, it's 1 less. Both of them are sorceries, so, you got to use it on your turn. So I will absolutely take more Stock Ups, and Helping Hand, just a foil version of it. Okay, we already got one of those. It would have been nice to have something else, but, a foil version of it is going to be a little bit better, but we'll take it. And we're getting a mountain with our Quintorius on it. First rare of the last pack of the first half is Withering Curse. We finally got another mythic, finally. 1 double black sorcery. All creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. Infusion, if you gained life this turn, destroy all creatures instead. Okay, so a little bit of a Toxic Deluge effect there, mass removal, getting rid of a lot of small creatures there if you need to get rid of that for it, or if you've gained life, then it just becomes into like a what do you call it? Doomsday? Not Doomsday. Because it's Wrath of God is the white version. Damnation, that's what I'm thinking of, just without the regeneration thing, but cards aren't really being printed with regenerate anymore. But yeah, that's a nifty little one there to be able to get. I will absolutely take, more mythics. Thank you very much. I Know that this one is probably not going to be worth all that much, but it is nice to be able to get some more stuff to be able to help complete out the collection there, and that is what is nice. Oh, finally another mythic. From our commander decks, we've got another Nev Practical Deans. We got this one last time as well. Creatures you control with counters on them have trample, which is always nice. Whenever you cast your first spell with an X and its mana cost, you put that many +1/+1s on Nev. You know, make them a little bit bigger. That's fine. And okay, Storm Carved Coast. We did not get this land. We did not get this land yet, and it is the alternate art, which is really nice. I'll absolutely take this. You know, we'll always take the lands. Not the greatest ones there, because they are the slow lands. Only enter untapped if you have 2 or more other lands. Good in Commander, though. We'll certainly take that. And the alternate arts, which are hard to get in the standard packs, the play boosters. Mythical Archive card, Angel's Grace. It's a very, very pretty card. I won't lie about that. I don't know if it's all that great, but it's a very pretty card. I always like the dichotomy that you have with kind of the light and the darks like that. 1 white for an instant split second. So as long as it's on the stack, other player, you know, not other players, but just players in general can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. You can't lose the game this turn. Your opponents can't win the game this turn. Until end of turn, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. So a little bit of a save effect there of if your opponents have something that says lose the game on it, then you can't. If they have something that says you win the game when this happens, they don't. And if they try to do any sort of damage this turn, that would reduce you to 1. You get to save yourself there. So potentially saving grace there with the Angel's Grace. So we'll take that. It's new. You know, that's going to be the big thing for us. A little bit of Fractal, a little bit of Elemental. Come on. We got the Elemental. Give us something good. Give us something new. Oh, yeah, that's something good there. We got, I flipped it over, and I was just so shocked that it kept on going in my hand. Yeah, another silver script card. This one's an instant 1 green. I'm going to just have to take a look at this to see what it is. Okay, so I've looked over this card, and I was reading some of it, and I'm like, this looks familiar. And then I looked at the title, and I see Natsu, the kanji Natsu, and it's got the kana next to it. And I'm like, Natsu, that's summer. This is Veil of Summer. So it's like, yeah, this is Veil of Summer. Okay, this is a premier one to get in that rare slot there. Oh my goodness. And it's very, very pretty too. Oh my goodness. All of the flowers, like, I love the colors of the flowers. So, like, they're so colorful. It's so pretty too. Yeah, so the last pack of that first half certainly gave us a little bit of stuff there. You know, Nev wasn't too great at all there, but another mythic. You know, Storm Carved Coast. This, and I mean, it's just like the helping hand. The stock up is nice there, but oh my goodness, yeah, it's beautiful, it's powerful. I'll absolutely take that. Thank you very much. Oh boy, that's a good pull. I don't think it's gonna, I don't know how it will compare to something like the Ad Nauseam that we had, or the Jessica's Will, but, or even, I don't know how it's going to compare to the Sakroma's Will, but I think it's going to be, it's certainly going to help. That's for certain. My guess is it's going to surpass the value of the Emerituses that we had. That's my guess, but we'll have to see. Okay, Sneering Shade Rider. It's so beautiful. We saw this, ETB, each opponent loses 2, you gain 2. Efflorescence, 2 +1/+1s on 1 creature. If you gain life this turn, they also gain Trample Indestructible. So potentially a little bit of combat trick to make them bigger and protect them. Oh, it flew out there. Not that it was great anyway. Render Speechless, very expensive, I was thinking Thoughtcast, no. Thought Scour, no. It's Thoughtseize. That's what I'm looking for. Thoughtseize is the whole thing of reveal their hand. You know, you choose a non-land from it, they discard it. This one just puts an additional +1/+1s on one thing. So, okay. Forum of Amity, okay. The Surveil land for Silverquill, we'll take that. It was in the decks. Garrison Excavator, 3 in a red, 3/4 menace. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you create a 2/2 red and white spirit creature token. So again, you know, another one that goes in with that. You have it out there. Oh no, you cast your flashback card or you brought something back. They lose the life because of the box that we had before, and you get your spirits and all of the other ones that get you your spirits. Foolish Fate, you know, we saw this one, destroy target creature. If you gain life this turn, this controller also loses 3 life. Yep. Stirring Honoromancer. We saw this one before. It had the nice, like, the cool, like, 2 pips, but then also 1 hybrid, which was nice. ETBs, look at the top X cards of your library. X is the number of creatures you control. 1 goes in your hand, the rest go in your graveyard. Bitter Triumph. Okay, so we did get the Japanese version of this one. Definitely has gone down in value since it's been printed so much since the Ixalan, Caverns of Ixalan when it came out, but we'll still take it. You know, we will have other, you know, these fancy versions of it. I do like playing it 1 in a black instant as initial cost to cast it. You discard a card or pay 3 life. You know, there's some good ways about it. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Yeah, I've got some decks where you want to discard cards, you know, Mayhem and, what's the other one there? Mayhem was the recent one from Spider-Man, and then there's the old ones there that Angie Falconroth is based off of. I want to, you know, I'm thinking Menace, but it's not Menace. That's the keyword of it has to be blocked by 2 or more creatures. But I can't really think of it off the top of my head, but we'll take more artwork and another Braid. Okay, so we get another Mel from Arcane. So unfortunately, we did get this artwork already. So not getting anything new on this. It is a foil version. I would rather take a foil version there if I'm going to get a repeat as opposed to a regular one. Though, I mean, if I have to get a regular one normal and then the foil is different, I'd actually rather take that. Going to get our Quandrix Forest. First rare is going to be Applied Geometry. 2, a green and a blue for a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target non-aura permanent you control, except it's a 0/0 fractal creature in addition to its other types. It gets 6 +1/+1s on it. Okay, so potentially you could put this on something where if it's a creature that doesn't have a lot of power or toughness and it gets some sort of benefit by having that, then this would be a good version of it, like Vivi there of, oh, you know, you create a copy of Vivi and it's a 6/6 and you can pay 0 mana so that it gets its power, which is 6, in extra mana, and then you're like, oh, I cast, you know, extra instant or sorceries, it's a little bit more powerful, and I get extra mana from it, yada, yada, yada. Like, yeah, you know, I could see that one doing well. Commander card is going to be an Umbral Expanse. Okay, so this is going to be an extended version of one of these cycling lands there. It's a very, very beautiful one. I do really like the artwork on this one here with these 2 kind of suns and this black sun underneath there in the reflection. Very, very beautiful. I'll absolutely take another one of those. Might not be the most, you know, impactful new land to come out. It is a swamp plane, so, you know, that is something, but I just like the artwork on it. And Moment of Reckoning. Okay, so it looks like we have some sort of Archaic attacking. 3 double white, double black. Very expensive. 7 mana for sorcery. Choose up to 4. You may choose the same mode more than once. Destroy target non-land permanent and return target non-land permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Spend a lot of mana to get a combination of destroying 4 non-land permanents, returning 4 permanent non-land permanents graveyard to the battlefield, or combination of both. It's decent, you know, pretty expensive. You want to see about trying to reduce the cost on it there if you can. Mythical Archive card. Ooh. Psych Rift. Psych Rift is in here. Man, I wish that was the Japanese version, but I will absolutely take an extra Psych Rift whenever I can get it. Oh boy, yeah, that's going to be good there. Good old classic, 1 in a blue, instant, return target on-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. You know, that's okay. But the good old Commander classic of overloading 6 in a blue, and you change the target to each, just kind of like we had with Vandal Blast I was talking about with its overload, and that target non-land permanent you don't control, well, it turns to each non-land permanent you don't control. All of your opponent's creatures, all of their artifacts, all of their enchantments, all of their planeswalkers, battles, and whatnot, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. You know, everything goes back to their hand. You know, the only thing that's going to really survive there is like Dryad Arbor and, you know, things that have been made into lands there. That's, oh boy, that's a really good one there. I believe the Japanese versions are more expensive, so Psych Rift is going to go under Chroma's Will, but, ooh, those are 2 really good mythic ones to get. I dig it. Oh boy, if only it was foil, or if it was a Japanese Silver Scroll, that would be... And cute little pest there, and a big sloth fractal. Okay, so it looks like we're starting off strong in second half there. Is this one going to do it? Okay, so it's definitely a new one. Color Storm Stallion, 1, a blue, and a red. And we've got the alternate artwork for this. 3/3 Elemental Horse, Ward 1, a little bit of protection and haste, so can attack right away. That's nice. Opus, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn, so, you know, a little bit of prowess. And if 5 or more mana was spent to cast it instead, you create a token that's a copy of this. Okay, so if you pay... If the CMC... No, it's if 5 or more mana was spent to cast it. So it doesn't matter if you reduce it. It's not talking about converted mana cost, it's how much you spend on it. Not that great. Like Opus, it's not the greatest of ones there. It's like, sure, you know, it'd be great to get an army of these 3/3 hasty ward horses, but to have to spend the 5 mana on spells to be able to get them, to get the extra copies, not the greatest. But, yeah, we got Psych Rift. That's going to be the big one. Okay. Started off strong. Can we keep on going into pack number 2? Is the second half going to blow the first half out of the water? I mean, even if we got a bunch of mythics there, we did get an Chroma's Will and 2 Silver Scrolls. I don't know what's going to be the best Silver Scroll uncommon, but this is probably got to be one of the best Silver Scroll rares. Okay, send in the pest. You know, each opponent discards a card and you create a pest token. It's as it is. Rebel Rouser. That makes me think of Rabble Rouser. 2 in a red, 1/4 Dwarf Sorcery, ETBs. You may discard a card if you do draw a card. Okay, tap, exile a card from your graveyard, add red. When you do, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's actually kind of nasty because, you know, you tap this to essentially get some mana. You know, you exile something that you feel you're not going to get. It leaves the graveyard, so then you get all of your leave the graveyard's effects, and then you get the additional, you know, 1 damage to each opponent. I see you. I see you. Rehearsed Debater. 2 in a white, 3/3 Jin Bard. Vigilance, Repartee. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery that targets a creature, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Very bland. Hungry Graphalon, we saw this one before. It's just reach and increment, very bland. Essence Knit Scholar. Okay, so we're getting another one with that nice mana cost there. Black, green, and a hybrid black-green for a 3/1 Dwarf Warlock. When it ETBs, you create the pest. When it attacks, not when it dies, when it attacks, you gain a life. Beginning of your end step, if a creature died under your control this turn, you draw a card. Okay. It's only at the beginning of your end step, so but there's plenty of sacrificing effects, that's fine. Borrowed knowledge, a little bit of passing notes in class, okay, I see you. 2, a red and a white sorcery, choose one, discard your hand, and draw cards equal to the number of cards in target opponent's hand. That can be really good. Opponent has a lot of cards in their hand, you can pay 4 to get it. Or discard your hand, then draw cards equal to the number of cards discarded this way. So you get to choose who has the greatest number of cards in their hand. I'm going to draw that amount. Honestly, very nice in red and white, which doesn't have potentially the best drawing effects. So it's play out your hand, then have this, and be able to potentially just refill it up. Very nice. Stand up for yourself, 2 and a white, instant destroy target creature with power 3 or greater. Valorous Stance, I think, was 1 and a white for power 4 or greater, so not quite as great, but it's like, okay, you know, like, getting rid of the bullies, that's nice. That's always good. Stand up for yourself. Okay. Another beautiful Japanese artwork mythical archive card. I am not going to know what this one is. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to know what this is. Having reviewed over the card, I do see what this is. Because one thing, position. Throwing out the hand, I see te, which means hand. It's 1 white mana, it's an instant. I see 3 and I see 1 in there. And helping hand, 1 white for a sorcery, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. I saw some of those stuff in there, and if I hadn't gotten helping hand earlier on, I wouldn't have noticed this, but this is helping hand, so getting more artworks for it will absolutely take that. Thank you. And we're getting a foil sleight of hand. So we did see this one before as well. 1 blue sorcery, look top 2 of your library, 1 goes in your hand, bottom goes in your library. Bottom of your layer. Oh, so it's not deduce, it's sleight of hand that we saw earlier with this one here. This one here is sleight of hand there. Okay, so that's what we're looking at there. Okay, that's good. You probably saw this artwork when I was doing it anyway. But yeah, you know, we'll certainly take another copy of those, another foil. It's always good to get more of these foils. Thank you. Prismari Island. That's nice. First rare. Postmortem Professor. We already saw this guy here. Wish I got something new instead. 1 in black, 2/2. Zombie Warlock. Can't block. When it attacks, each opponent loses 1. You gain 1. And 1 in a black. Exile target instant or sorcery from your graveyard. And you return this from your graveyard to the battlefield. You know, it is as it is. You're attacking in, making them... You know, you gain, they lose. That's fine. Commander card is going to be Pest Rescuer. Now, I do dig this one. I'm glad to get more of this because this is, I think it's Ophiomancer is the one that generates the snakes with Death Touch. You know, this is very similar. 2 and a green, 2/2, Dryad Druid, beginning of your upkeep. If you don't control a pest, you create a pest that when it dies, you gain a life. And if you would gain life, you gain that much plus 1 instead. So, you know, it incentivizes more life gain, and you can aristocrat style, you know, sacrifice the ones that you have to be able to gain 2 life and then get whatever benefits that you want off of it there. And then next upkeep, you get another one. Next upkeep, you get another one. It's very, very good there. I would not be surprised if this ends up being one of the better cards from the commander decks there. So great to get that one there. Also going to get... Okay, so now we are just missing the blue Emeritus. It would be great if we got it because I'd like to complete out the set. But this is also, I think, considered the worst of the Emeritus because it just does Lightning Bolt. 1 in a red for a 2/2 human wizard with first strike. When you cast your 3rd spell each turn, this becomes prepared. Oh, and you got to use so much to be able to use it. And then Lightning Bolt, 1 red, deals 3 damage to any target. You know, Spellslinger deck, you can get it there. Technically, if you prepare it up, if you get it prepared, and you save the Lightning Bolt for another turn, it can count as 1 spell there. So... that is something. So we are, at the very least, at 4 of our 5 Emeritus. We still have not gotten another dragon. We're still, there's still plenty left to get, a lot of the archive cards there, which is going to be for this one, Pyretic Ritual. Hey, and we had that one before right here, our Japanese version of it, which I guess if I did that one for that, I should do the same with Children's Edict as well. But I am fairly certain I got that right and that you saw that artwork before. 1 in a red instant, add 3 mana, add 3 red mana there, decent one to get. I'll take more of them. That's good. And our final rare is going to be Disappointing. Splatter Technique. This is our 3rd one there. We get a little bit of a Quandrix Lattice Library. Yeah, so not a great card there, and we've seen it a whole lot. A little bit disappointing on that one there. To be fair, the Emeritus, it's not a good one there. The Pest Rescuer is actually probably the best thing that we got in that pack there. Okay, 4 packs left. Come on. 4 packs left. We've got 5 Mythics as opposed to at the very end of the last one we had 11. Oh my good, we're definitely running behind on these. So unless these have a bunch of Mythics in it, we're definitely not going to get the same amount there. First box is still showing up better, but I'm still going to take this because, Chroma's Will, Psych Rift, Veil of Summer there. Another one of these, some really cool and beautiful looking other of the mythical archive cards. I wonder if the play boosters will have a mythical archive card or if it's going to be random. Ancestral Anger, 1 red, sorcery, target creature gains trample and gets +X/+0 until end of turn. X is 1 plus the number of cards called Ancestral Anger in your graveyard. You draw a card. Probably pretty good in Pauper there, so, good to take that. Grapple with Death, I think we saw this. Destroy an artifact or creature, you gain 1 life. Okay. Eager Glyph Mage, 3 and a white, 3/3 cat cleric. ETBs, you create a 1/1 white and black inkling creature token with flying. Very meh. Shopkeeper's Bane, a Badger Pest, 2 and a green, 4/2 trample attacks, you gain 2 life. Okay, so it's a big pest then. And a Teacher's Pest. This is the one that can keep on coming back from your graveyard and attacks, you gain a life, has menace. Yeah, nice little skeletal features there. Emil, Vastwoods Roamer. Okay, so this is maybe another student from Quandrix that we haven't seen before. Not one of our new first years that we know of, at least. 2 and a green, 3/3, legendary elf druid. Creatures you control with +1/+1s on them have trample. Okay, so that's very similar to one of the Abzan cards that we've seen. So, we'll take that, and we can put this in the Quandrix deck there. That's nice. 4 and a green, tap, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X +1/+1 on it, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. Okay, that's also really good. 5 mana and tap this. Commander, you're going to have a whole lot of different named lands, especially if you are in multiple colors. So you got 2 or 3 color deck. You might have like 10, maybe 10 different named lands potentially on the battlefield, like at your high end there, getting a 10/10 trampler for 5 mana. It's not that bad. Kirill. I don't think we had Kirill last time, so here's another one there. Who else are we missing? Luen and let's see here. We got Abigail, Kirill, we got Sonar, so we are just missing as well the black and green is Luen. We're missing the Quandrix one. Red and white, 2/3, legendary vampire cleric. Whenever 1 or more cards leave the graveyard, Kirill becomes prepared. That's nice. Pack a punch. 1 red and white sorcery mill card. Put 2 +1/+1s on target creature. It gains trample until end of turn there. Okay, not the worst one ever, but, not super powerful. We'll take it. Oh my. This is Burst Lightning, and that is an absolutely terrifying rendition of it there. Super creepy seeing all of that. We'll absolutely take it, but that's like, sure, you know, like this is it's just like comparatively this is so much creepier than whatever this is there. Yikes. Still won't use it, but that's another good one to add to the collection. Again, new artworks, absolutely will take it. Oh, we should probably sleeve up Helping Hand as well, just in case. Do we have any other? Yeah, we do have that one and those two. Let me just quickly get these sleeved up as well. I know I didn't do this in my last one, but I didn't realize that these could be, I mean, most of these are not going to even be $1 anyway. I'm still counting them in, but it's just like, I want to protect the arts of the Japanese ones just in case. Okay, our other one is going to be a Repel Calamity. Okay, so we get a little bit of a foil Repel Calamity. Destroy target creature with power or toughness 4 or greater. A little bit better than the Valorous stance there, but we'll certainly take it. Okay, we've got our Lorehold Mountain. We still are not getting too many swamps, interestingly. First rare is going to be another Pox Plague. Okay, we got this one the last time as one of our last cards there. Very similar to Pox. It's just, you know, you pay more and you get a little bit more out of it. 5 black mana sorcery. Each player loses half their life, then discards half the cards in their hand and sacrifices half the permanents they control of their choice. You round down each time so you don't kill someone. But yeah, you know, it's as it is, not the most impactful, very restrictive with the 5 black mana. Commander card is going to be Immoral Bargain. 1, a black and a green. Sorcery is initial cost to cast this. You sack X creatures, destroy X target non-land permanents. You know, hitting the enchantments, artifacts, and whatnot there is nice. You know, black, hit the creatures. Green, hit the artifacts and enchantments there. Can hit planeswalkers, battles, you know, anything there that's not a land, that's decent enough. Playing an aristocrat-style deck, or you want stuff going into your graveyard, you know, good way of, you know, sacrificing your own stuff to get rid of the difficult things. And very similarly to, what would you call it? What's the name there? Toxic Deluge. Instead of, you know, paying X and a black and a green there, it's instead the 3, and then you have to sacrifice something. Toxic Deluge, it's life, and in this case, it's creatures. So this is not quite as good as Toxic Deluge in getting rid of things because, you know, you can do that. But, you know, there are ways of using this. So I'll still take that. Fix What's Broken. This was another one that we had in the previous one. So unfortunately, another duplicate. This is, other than our Mystical Archives, it's looking like this is a duplicate pack. Additional cost to cast this, you pay X life, return each artifact and creature with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield. This, again, also very similar to the Toxic Deluge effect of, you know, it's 1 cost that's on the lower side to potentially get a whole lot of stuff back. White and black, you can get a whole lot of life back. So, you know, that can be pretty decent there. So I will certainly take that. Mythical Archive card. Green. What is this one going to be? Okay, so I've been trying to read this one, and I am not getting quite what it is. You know, it'll be right here. It looks like this might be some sort of tutoring effect. You know, it looks like it might be something that based off of like one of your creatures, like go search for something with mana cost, CMC 1 higher or something like that. But we'll have to see what it is here. But, you know, getting more arts for things, especially the Japanese arts, is very good. So I will absolutely take that. Thank you very much. We'll add that into our pile. We'll have a little bit of 2/2 spirits and the big sloth fractals. And our final rare of the pack is going to be Postmortem Professor. Okay, so Postmortem Professor is doing the same thing that Splatter Technique is, and we've gotten 3 copies of it. We don't need any more. So the one Japanese card in there is like the best thing in there. We got, Repel Calamity and the Burst Lightning, which aren't going to be like super great in terms of value. The Burst Lightning we'll take for the artwork. The Repel Calamity, we already got a couple of those, so we were kind of fine with that. Rub this one for luck. Hopefully we can get something in it. Pack didn't want to open up there. Fractal Mascot, we saw this one. ETBs, tap a creature and opponent controls, you put a stun counter on it. Tenured Concoctor, 4 and a green, 4/5, Troll Druid Vigilance. Becomes the target of a spell or ability opponent controls. You may draw a card, and if you've gained life this turn, this gets +2/+0. Meh. Stone Docent, 1 and a white, 3/1, Spirit Chimera, 1 white. Exile this from your graveyard. You gain 2, Surveil 1. Okay, so a way to activate the remove from the graveyard effect there, but still kind of meh. Zealous Lorecaster, 5 and a red, 4/4 Giant Sorcerer. When this ETBs, return instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Meh. Like, it's good to activate the effects and get the thing, but it's 6 mana to get something back and just have a generic creature. Soaring Stone Glider, 2 and a white, 4/3, Elephant Cleric. Additional cost to cast a spell, exile 2 from your graveyard or pay 1 and a white, Flying and Vigilance. 2 and a white, 4/3, Flying Vigilance is not that bad. If you're playing a little bit more of an aggressive strategy, have some cards already in your graveyard, that's fine. Exiling 2 there to get that, it's not the worst thing. Living History, 1 and a red, enchantment, ETBs, create a 2/2 red and white spirit creature token. We saw that with the wolves. Whenever you attack, if a card left your graveyard this turn, target attacking creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Only 1, so again, not that great. Pest Brood Sloth, 3 and a green, 4/4, Plant Sloth, Reach. When this dies, you create 2 pests that when they attack, you gain 1 life. Still kind of meh. We got a non-foil Abrade, Hello Mel, and a Royal Treatment. Okay, so we got the Japanese version of this one previously, and I wasn't able to figure it out. I saw King, but it ended up being Royal. So 1 green for an instant, target creature you control gains Hexproof until end of turn, and you create a Royal Roll token attached to it. The enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has a ward 1. So, just a little bit of a protection spell there for you. So we'll certainly take that. Thank you. More new artwork is always good. And that should be both of them there. Yep. So we got just our planes. And first rare is going to be another Steal the Show. Okay, so Postmortem Professor, Splatter Technique, and now Steal the Show are all in the same vein of we've gotten 2 of the regular ones and we've gotten 1 borderless foil of it. We're not looking for that. Commander card is going to be Coercive Impetus, 2 and a black, enchantment aura, enchant creature. Enchanted creature has +1/+1 as Godin. Whenever a creature attacks, you draw a card and lose a life. So you put this on something your opponent controls to goad it, have them attack other people, and then you get to Phyrexian Arena every time they do that. Or you could put it on your own, but you're going to want to do it on your opponent's thing. Okay, so we'll take that. I like my impetuses. They're not the greatest, but, it's nice. And another rare. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting another mythic here. Thank goodness. And it's going to be one of our other Paradigm cards. Now, this one isn't going to be as good as the other ones. We had the red Paradigm and the white Paradigm cards. And this is going to be the black one. Decorum Dissertation. 3 double black sorcery lesson. Target player draws 2 and loses 2 life. Okay. For 5 mana, that's not that great. However, Paradigm, after you cast this, you exile it, and at the beginning of your upkeep, I believe, you cast a copy of this for free, as long as the first one went through. You know, not quite as good as the other two, which I believe were bringing cards back from your graveyard to the battlefield. Like, it was one thing, and then the other one, the red one, was, I think, making copies of things. Like, this one isn't as good as those, but I will absolutely take it. You know, now we're at 3 of the paradigms. Like, we are at 4 of the emerituses, but this is another mythic. So now we are at 6 total, you know, one of them being this Subterranean Tremors. You know, we're getting a Japanese one. That's a, well, we'll be on the lookout for this particular version of it. We'll know what it is, but I don't exactly know what Subterranean Tremors does. Okay, Mythical Archive card. Can we get something good? Empty the Warrens. Okay, so I can't remember if we got this one last time. Like, I know we got the Japanese version of it last time, but I don't know if we got the English version last time. Because I remember getting the Japanese one and being able to figure it out, but I can't remember if we got the English version as well. But if we didn't, I will absolutely take another one. I mean, especially if it's foil. I mean, you know, you can get non-foil ones, but I'll absolutely take more of that, especially since we've got the Goblin Storm deck coming out. You know, being able to do a little bit of Empty the Warrens is nice. And our final rare is going to be something good, something good, something good. It's foil Stormcarved Coast, so we're still at 3 of the lands, but we are going to be getting a foil version of it. So hopefully that can give a little bit of something, but we were able to get one more mythic. Again, the mythics, aside from our you know, Magical Archive, which all of those I think are good, have not been that great comparatively, but we've got 2 packs left. Penultimate pack. You know, we're down 5 mythics comparatively to our last one. Can we get some more? Because we can get, you know, like 3, you know, we can get a ton. We could get like 5 mythics in a single one, but we're not going to. Strife Scholar, you know, ward pay 2. It's got Awaken the Ages, create 2 spirit creature tokens. We'd seen that one before. Rapier Wit, 1 and a white, instant tap target creature. If it's your turn, you put a stun counter on it and you draw a card. Okay, you know, being able to do a little bit of stuff there, that's nice. Elemental Mascot, that, you know, even if we aren't getting like new ones there, I like my little elemental bird. It means a lot to me, so I will certainly take another one of those. Another one of the Surveil lands. Aberrant Mana Worm, 3 and a green 2/5 worm trample. Cast an instant or sorcery. This gets +X+0 until end of turn. X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Okay, you know, make it a little bit bigger. Stress Dream, oh no. 3, a blue, and a red. Instant. Stress Dream deals 5 damage to up to 1 target creature. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 into your hand at the bottom of the library, and just on the bottom of your library. Yeah, because it's only 1, so you can't do it. It doesn't matter about random order. This looks like the same frog that was having a little bit of procrastination, so it looks like they procrastinated until they had a Stress Dream there because they went too long. Oh boy. Archaics Agony, 4 and a red sorcery. Converge, deals X damage to target creature. X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast a spell. Exile card from the top of your library equal to the excess damage dealt. You may play those cards until the end of your next turn. Okay, so do more. It's not that great because you don't want to do all that excess damage. It's 5 mana. It's just not that good. Hop to it. Okay, so here's our English version of it, as you probably saw with it there. This time here, it looks like we've got some little like white fruits or something like that, but you know, okay, you know, we'll take it there. You know, artwork that we don't have, and a foil Deduce. Okay, you know, we I think we got Deduce last time. It wasn't foil, so you know, we'll take a foil version of it. It's fine. I'd prefer something new, but you know, we'll take it. Forest, Quandric Forest. Been getting a lot of those again. Still like swamps, not quite as often. First rare, Mind into Matter, okay, we'd seen this one last time. X, green and a blue, sorcery, draw X cards, then put a permanent with mana value X or less from your hand on the battlefield tapped. Draw a lot of cards, put something big out there, that's nice. Commander card, Scorched Geyser, okay, so we'll certainly take that one. Land enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. So, nifty little island mountain there. Lands are always a good one to get, so we'll certainly take that, but you need basics, not just 2 lands. So that's where it makes this one a little bit slower. Another rare, Comforting Counsel. So it looks like we were still running low on the mythics there. We got, another repeat. 1 and a green enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you put a growth counter on this. As long as there are 5 or more growth counters on this enchantment, creatures you control get +3/+3. Mythical Archive. Expressive Iteration. Okay, so, that's a decent one there. It was banned in Standard when it was originally created. When the original card was made. Blue and a red sorcery, look top 3 cards of your library. 1 goes in your hand, 1 goes on the bottom of your library, and you exile 1 of them, and you can play the exiled card this turn. So, you essentially, for 2 mana, did the same thing that we saw in Flow State there. Flow State, it's 1 and a blue. This it's a blue and a red, where 1 goes into your hand and the other one that you can just instantly play. So, Flow State is just inherently a better version of Expressive Iteration, and honestly, because it's 1 and a blue and you can play it in more types of decks, I wouldn't be surprised if Flow State ends up getting banned like Expressive Iteration does, because having 1 instant or sorcery in your graveyard as the only condition is not that difficult. I think that it'll probably end up getting banned if Expressive Iteration did. Final rare is going to be, I'm putting my head in my hand because this is now our 4th one that we have this. We've gotten 4 that have done the exact same thing, where we've gotten a repeat from the last one and we've gotten a foil extended art version of it as well, when we could have been getting something like really new, really cool there. Another Moseo. So unfortunately, it is looking like this is not going to be nearly as good as the first box there. I'll certainly take the new things that we had gotten in it, but first box is definitely showing its chops better. Final pack. Please be good. We've got Rubbing In for Luck. Please, please, please. Adventurous Eater, 2 and a black. Human Warlock, enters tapped, have a bite, sorcery. Put a +1/+1 on target creature, you gain 1 life. Deluge Virtuoso, 2 and a blue, 2/2, Human Wizard, ETBs, tap target creature an opponent controls, and put a stun counter on it. Opus, you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. 5 or more mana was spent to cast it, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Not even permanent there, it's kind of bad. Potioner's Trove, I think I saw this one getting used in Standard a little bit, a little mana rock there. 3 mana, artifact, tap to add 1 mana of any color. You can tap to gain 2 life, activate only if you've cast an instant or sorcery this turn, but, a little extra mana rock there is nice. Quick Study, 2 and a blue instant, draw 2 cards. It's Divination, that's what it is. Matter Bending Mage, 2 and a blue, 2/2, Human Wizard, ETBs, return up to 1 target creature to its owner's hand. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, this creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay, I mean, I don't think that would take anything out from an X deck to put this one in, so it's just an extra thing you can do. Lumeret's Favor, there's Luwin there that we were looking for. 1 and a green, instant infusion. When you cast a spell, copy it. If you gain life this turn, you may choose new targets for the copy. Target creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Giant Growth just is better. It's just better. Proctor's Gaze, 2, a green and a blue. Instant, return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Okay, return something. You could do it on your own stuff, but it costs a lot to do that. You're going to want to do it, disrupt your opponent's things. And then you get the extra land is nice. Feels a little bit like a 1 and a blue to return the thing, and then the 1 and a green to get the basic land, you know, because it's like rampant growth there, which is that search your library for basic land, put it on the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. Like, that's 1 in a green, and I'm sure there's plenty of, you know, 1 in a blue, return target, you know, non-land permanent to its owner's hand. It's just got both of them stapled onto each other there. Proctor's making sure no one's cheating. Okay. This is going to be Zombify. It just looks like Zombify there. Yeah, and even says, it says zombie. So, you know, getting our Japanese artwork of Zombify will certainly take that. You know, we want to get all of these new artworks. That's good there. Just made sense. You know, I think it was, you know, reanimate something for the 4 mana. Other Mythical Archive card. I am not sure I'm going to get this. Let's take a peek. Okay, so I've looked over this, and I think that we might have seen something. We might have seen the normal one in the last box. Again, you can see it right here. But what I think that this is 2 in a green sorcery. It's probably something like one of your creatures, you put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then it deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. It's probably not a fight spell. It's probably just do the damage, but you'll be able to see what it is right here, if I've got it correct, and its name and whatnot, but I feel like that's what this is. So, you know, we're getting another new artwork, which is really nice to be seeing that we're still getting plenty of those. I don't know how many of these are out there, but getting it is nice. Okay, so we're actually getting 2 swamps this time. First rare of the final pack. Ambitious Augmenter. We're also going to be looking for Mathemagic, the one that, you know, has the X and you draw cards equal to it to the X power, 2 to the X power. 1 green, 1/1 turtle wizard with increment. Cast a spell. If its mana value is greater than its power or toughness, then you put a +1/+1 on this. When this dies, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, then put this creature's counters on that creature, on that token. Okay, you know, it replaces itself there a little bit. That's fine. You know, not the most amazing thing. Commander card is going to be Abstract Performance, 5 in a blue, sorcery, exile top 4 cards of your library in a face-down pile, then exile top 4 cards of your library in a face-up. Opponent chooses one of them, put the pile into the graveyard, look at the cards in the other pile. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost, and the rest go into your hand. Right, this was the, like, older brother Fact or Fiction there. So I'll take it. It's not as inexpensive as Fact or Fiction, but I'll take it. Okay, last non-foil extended rare is going to be... Okay, so we did get another Mythic and one of the Planeswalkers, probably, and I don't think Quintorius is in here. It might be only in the Commander decks, but getting one of the Planeswalkers, and you know, they've been giving them more and more the 4 abilities there, so this is 4, so it's kind of like your general standard cost of Planeswalker. 2 a black and a green. Planeswalker, Dellian Fel, Professor Dellian Fel, comes in with 5 loyalty on it. You can pay 2 to gain 3 life, so no protection on there. 0 mana, draw a card and lose 1 life. A little bit of Phyrexian Arena effect, so no protection on those. -3, destroy target creature. Okay, you can do that when it comes out, but it goes down from 5 to 2. So you can't do it twice in a row. 6, you get an emblem with whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. And then you get that, like, Sanguine Bond effect, which, if you're able to keep it out for 1 turn without it going away, then you get its emblem. So they're definitely trying to push this as a 4 mana Planeswalker because of the 4 abilities, the high loyalty, the ability to get the emblem really quickly. You've got the answer, you got the option to destroy something, but you've got a +2 so that you can get there very easily. You can do this once every 3 turns if you want to. You can get the card draw if that's what you really need to. Okay. Okay. We'll certainly take that. Final Mythical Archive card. Oh, so we are getting mythics now, because what? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is our 8th one. We can't get 11. We can't even get 10. We could get 9. It's unlikely, but our last box is proving to be better. We got a new rare that we hadn't gotten before. We got a decent card from the commander decks. We got a mythic alternate art. We've got a mythic from the archive, not one of the Japanese ones, but it is foil, so that does help. Winds of Abandon. 1 and a white, sorcery. Exile target creature you don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for basic land. Those players put those cards onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle, and you can overload for 4 and double white to make target creature to each creature. So very similarly to our Psych Rift there, except instead of returning to the hand, they get exiled, and they get to mana ramp, do a little bit of the Path to Exile, but Path to Exile essentially every creature that you don't control. The basic lands come onto the play into the battlefield tapped, so if you've got a way to win, like attacking in, you can overload, get rid of all of their creatures, pave the way. Those things come in tap, and if they've got like Amulet of Vigor, Extil Ice Explorer, something like that, let's let them come in untapped. You can win the game with it there. I will absolutely take that. It's not going to be the best one there, but I will take it. A little bit of Inkling, a little bit of 2/2 Spirit. Here it is. You got 2 mythics in here. This is not going to be a mythic, but we're hoping for something good. I mean, we still have an Emeritus to get. We still have Mathemagics. We still have 4 of our dragons. Please. I can't remember if we can... This, I think, was not in our regular slot there. I can't remember. I think it was in our final one there. Please, 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 something good. Molten Core Maestro. Probably not nearly as good because I see Opus. 1 in a red, 2/2 Goblin Bard Menace. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, put a +1/+1 on this. If 5 or more mana was spent to cast that spell at an amount of red mana equal to this creature's power. Okay, so we get a little bit of a VV effect. If you continuously cast things that are like 5 mana or more, make its power go up. Because it's counters, it doesn't go away at the end of turn. You can essentially get refunds on your mana there. You could go through a whole lot of your deck. It's not terrible. It's decent. I can use this. There are ways in going about using this. I will take it. We'll take it here. I'm going to say probably pretty obviously not nearly as good as the first box, but we've still got some nifty stuff there. Obviously big ones there are 2 Silver Scrolls, Chroma's Will, and we've got Psych Rift and Whims of Abandon. Like last time, we got one of the commanders from there, though I think Abstract Performance and Pest Rescuer are probably the best things that we got from here. Forum Filibuster is also a neat one. We got 4 over here, helping out, getting more and more Emeritus. We're just off by the Ancestral Recall one. We got another one of our Paradigms, so we are going to be missing the blue one, and we are going to be missing the green one, so I'll have to look those up. We got a nifty little removal one there, and one of the Planeswalkers. From here, Molten Core Maestro looks kind of decent. We've gotten some of those. Another, we got the Stormcoat Carved Coasts. Another Fix What's Broken, which I think could be good there. Anything else? The Geometer's Arthropod and the Flashback, I think, can be pretty good there. Vastwood Scavenger seems all right. Arc of Hunger, I think, can go directly into the Lorehold deck. The Resonating Loot, can use in a whole lot of different places there. And, we've got a few repeats here. So definitely would bet that this is not nearly as good as the previous one, but we still got a lot of cool stuff in it. If I am able to get another collector box, I would try to do it because I think this is really cool. I think that the Mythical Archive is really cool. Thanks for joining me on this one. I hope that you get lucky with whatever it is that you are up to. Please take care of yourself. Have a good afternoon, evening, or night. And until you do come back, take care of yourself. I'll see you next time.